Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Mark from the States. How are we doing today? I am doing fantastic. I hope you are as well. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate all of you. I hope you know that. You guys are great. I just love our channel, and it wouldn't be where it is without any of you. So, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Come sit with me. Today we're going to look at what's called Big Roman Survivors by WC21 UK. Productions Limited. Darren over there, great human. I encourage you to get over there and support his channel. Links below this will take you to this video so you can watch it without me talking over it. And another link will also take you to his channel. Get over to his channel, support, like, subscribe, watch his videos. It helps him so much, and it's really important that we do. It's important that we do because these original content creators put so much work into their videos and stuff like that, and the least we can do is get over there and support by giving it likes and interacting with it, because that's how the YouTube thing works, right? I love Darren and his videos. They're just unique, compared to other ones that we've watched and learned from. And he's given us his blessing, of course. And he's just a good person, so it's fun. And the videos are fun. So if this interests you, get over there and help him out and have fun. Enjoy yourself. It's cool stuff. So anyway, come sit with me. Big Fake Couch. We're going to learn about this, I believe it said in the information, Portchester Castle? Portchester? Was it? I think it's a castle. I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's do it. It's incredible, though.
Portchester Castle. English Heritage described this place as the finest set of Roman walls north of the Alps.
It's basically intact, and it's the UK's biggest survivor.
And we know with absolute certainty how Portchester Castle survived the last millennia.
Look at it, it's basically intact.
Yeah.
That's right, Paul. It's more akin to what
Paul?
we see with a Victorian terraced house that's had a bathroom added and a Norman conservatory.
But how did it survive that post-Roman era when so many others at the time were completely robbed out?
And that's basically what we're here today to have a look at. And Paul is joining me. Hopefully he'll sprinkle some of that magic white wick dust onto our waning viewing figures.
Invade him. I like Paul. All right, here we go. Now, the Roman Gazette, this is like the series of where he does Roman structures and other sort of Roman stuff. Get over there and support this channel. It's really important.
Nowadays, Portchester Castle is in the care of English Heritage, and we know about the problems with them and the extremes that they will go to stop people from filming. So today we're going to be stealthy.
Really?
We're going to be a little bit like the DJ audits of YouTube antiquarians. Have you got as many subscribers as DJ audits, Paul?
Not yet.
I don't know who DJ Audits is. I had no idea that the
One single act probably secured the survival of this fort for the last 1,000 years. It was gifted to Edward the Elder in 904.
Edward the Elder.
And that led in turn to a Norman keep being added, and it even, as a royal castle, became the embarkation point for the Battle of Agincourt.
And then in the 18th century, it was used as a prison.
Leading to the 1800s up to the current day, it's been a thriving tourist destination. But what? So
they mentioned the Heritage, English Heritage Foundation. I think that's what it was called. That they don't, they're really against them filming there. That's a bummer. So is that like filming inside or just filming the structure? Wow. I'm glad they're able to do what they're doing. So this is, it's impressive though, how intact, like he said, that it is. Portchester Castle. Edward the Outer. It's, I don't know if I've heard that before. This Edward the Outer. I may have, of course, you know, it may have gone in my brain and out over time. It just seeps out, but it sounds like that's the first time I'm hearing that. Okay, I'm gonna just back up just a tad.
Up to the current day, it's been a thriving tourist destination. But what we want to know is, how did it survive the Dark Ages?
The early medieval.
Hold your horses. Before we answer that, we need the audience retention here. A quick YouTube-friendly resume of Portchester's Roman history. Whilst there have been first-century finds, the Roman fort that has survived largely intact to the current day was built around 285 to 290 AD. Favoured as Port Aderney, it was built as one of the Saxon shore forts. Roman Britain was having problems with pirates in little boats. It may have been founded by this chap, whose name I won't attempt to say, before he went on to declare himself as rebel emperor of Britain and Gaul. Naturally, this act resulted in him being topped. The fort did go out of use in the early 4th century, but was recommissioned around 340 AD. We believe that it was later replaced by a fort that's now buried somewhere under urban sprawl. However, and crucially for our investigation, it is now believed that civilian life carried on here through the late 4th and into the early 5th century, as evidenced by burials. So there were people living here in 410 AD.
Wow.
So this is one of 14 surviving Roman bastions. Absolutely spectacular. Now, the reason why we don't have 20, the original number, is because the majority were taken by the construction of the Norman keep over there in the northwest corner.
The entire defensive wall survives here, which is very unusual. The walls themselves are 10 feet thick and 20 feet high. Don't know why I've gone all old money there for some reason. Battlements are largely Norman additions, and the inner wall surfaces were cut back during the medieval period. But essentially, it's intact with later additions and tacky extensions.
So we do have a few bits that have been patched, repaired, like this during the medieval period, but the vast majority remains from the original Roman construction.
Basically, it's like the medieval equivalent of the Duckworth stone cladding in Coronation Street years ago. No doubt an estate agent would describe it as retaining many original features with all modern conveniences. Now note, no internal Roman stone buildings survive, and that's because it seems that there weren't any. It was just timber barrack blocks within the walls. Remember that for later.
Huh.
Okay, so I still say the Dark Ages. It doesn't really matter, does it? Everyone else says early medieval, but we know what we're talking about. So we've already seen that at the end of the Roman period, civilian life was carrying on within this fort. We do have to be careful not to treat this 410 date as a drop-dead date. Life in Roman Britain had been changing on the run-up to that for a significant period of time. But there were civilians here. And really interestingly, archaeology has identified that people were living here later in the crucial 5th century, that period where, with so many of these forts, they were abandoned. They found the evidence for 4 sunken floored huts, a well, and fascinatingly, ploughing. They were actually using this extensive land within the walls to grow things. Moving on, there's a whole range of buildings that have been identified through the 600s, the 700s, the 800s. We don't know who it was that was living here, whether it was a warlord or just ordinary people coping with Dark Ages life. It does appear that when we get to the late 800s, it does appear...
I just love the repair, but, you know, using the building material and style of the time. It's such a, I mean, for the people in the know, the easy way to just tell you, you know, when things are and when it took place and all that stuff. But I just, it's just fascinating. Huh. It's wild.
Here that when we get to the late 800s, it had become a bit run down, possibly a bit of a tipping ground. But we know already that it was saved in 904 when it was gifted to His Royal Highness the Elder. After that, we know it became a burh, and there was a huge, great timber structure in here, presumably for someone really important.
It's an incredible location too. I mean, right there on
Interesting
the water.
to consider what happened at other Roman forts after the Roman army was withdrawn from Britain. If we look at Burd Oswald, for instance, on the western side of Hadrian's Wall, there we have that intoxicating story of possibly members of the Roman army setting themselves up as local chieftains, and life did indeed continue there. But ultimately, the maintenance of the complicated stone buildings within the fort's walls became too much for them, and they replaced them with simpler timber ones before abandoning the site altogether at some point during the 6th century. I think I'm right in saying there's been one solitary find at Burd Oswald from within the Anglo-Saxon period, dated to the 8th century. And then at Piercebridge, you've got that charming thing where the civilian settlement over the centuries has moved itself into the footprint of the fort, but none of the fort structure was considered worth saving, and it has completely disappeared beyond what you can see through archaeology there. And then out on the Kent coast, at Richborough, we saw that there was definitely Anglo-Saxon activity within the fort's walls. There was a church. However, the walls themselves clearly were not valued as anything other than a quarrying source for stone. So what made Portchester different in the, let's just call it the sub-Roman period to avoid all the bother? What was different about Portchester that ensured the survival of those magnificent fort walls?
Is this the point when we really step things up again?
I certainly think it needs to be, Paul. Here are our reasons
Paul's a great
why
addition
this
here.
building survived the Dark
That's
Ages
funny.
whilst others fell. Paul, it's finally time to go all Phil Spencer or Kirsty Allsop, whichever you prefer.
Location, location,
I don't know who
location.
either of those
I've always
people
wanted to
are.
say that. So Portchester sits at the head of this huge natural harbour, really significant resource for the incoming English settlers, a great reason to stay here.
So inside the fort, ignore the Norman keep, ignore the church over there, you've just got this huge open space. And the evidence suggests a continuity of civilian settlement within these walls, crucially in the 400s. The evidence shows us that people carried on living here in this huge open space protected by these walls. And I think if you imagine yourself as a Romano-British person in the 400s, everything that you knew before has gone away, it's easy to understand why and how attractive it would be to stay living here within these walls.
So unlike other Roman buildings and structures that didn't survive past the Dark Ages,
I think that's surely early medieval, Paul.
well, this one was really simple. There's nothing inside. The walls would just look after themselves.
Such a versatile space with ample room to live and to farm, protected by the walls. So ultimately, it was the fact that this remained in use and useful, there was continuity, that is why it survived the Dark Ages,
Early medieval.
where other Roman buildings were robbed away. Well, thanks, Paul, for joining us today. It's been great working with you again. And you've got a video coming up on your channel that's been filmed here?
Yep, I've taken a bit of a Roman Navy failure take in my video, a bit different. Well, by the way, don't forget the next the next instalment next Friday. All right.
That's Friday, isn't it? Yeah. Cheers, Paul. It's been great. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Yeah, don't forget next Friday. All right.
I won't forget, Paul. See ya.
Got his money back. That was funny. Please go support Darren and go support Paul too. Interesting. You can see why I like his videos. They're quirky, they're funny, they're different. But Portchester Castle, very different. Just it's unique to me anyway because of it's so fully intact, but yet 4 walls, so much space on the inside. The location is awesome, right there on the water. Yeah. So yeah, everything they said makes sense. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. That was interesting. What has anybody been there? Just fascinating, really. There's so many castles, right? So many. But this is one of the more unique ones that I've seen because of just the sheer scale of the land that it occupies. And then just with nothing else, really. It's crazy. Interesting. I enjoyed that. That was fun. Please go support Darren over at his channel, WC21 UK Productions Limited is the full name. The links, of course, below. That will take you over there. I encourage you, please, to get over there and help him out. He has given us his blessing, of course, to watch his videos and learn from him. And it's just, I didn't know if this place existed, so that's awesome. And I love being able to see new things, right? And that's what's cool about our channel. Hopefully you get to see something new as well. All right, everyone. Hope you're all happy, healthy, and safe, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark, and he's from